Happy morning. There is a person I know very closely who has a golden heart. He loves to reach out, loves to help people, but is financially not successful. And when I say not successful, I'm saying he is earning less than 1 lakh rupees per month. With the whole world, his relationships are brilliant. But inside his family, people keep hammering him about a few weaknesses that he has. For example, he is not very systematic and methodical. So if a small task is given, chances are he will do it in the last moment. As a result of which, his wife, his father keep telling him that you're not good enough. Unknowingly, it plays on his subconscious mind. And because he's been told so many times you're not good enough, the system does not cooperate in doing things well or doing things properly. There was a beautiful study conducted. And the study went like this. Why do very capable and good-looking girls settle for boys who are not capable, who have a complicated mind, and who make life difficult for them? They found that many of these ladies are very capable. The family members say you are very capable, but for certain reason, they believe they don't deserve the best. As a result of which, two things happen. One, either they settle down for somebody really inferior, or two, they just cannot commit themselves to a new relationship in their life. Their whole life becomes their father's life, their mother's life, with the family life, life inside the room, maybe life around a talent that they have. If they're an interior designer, if they're an architect, if they're a visual graphic designer, and they do it sporadically. They will do it for some time, then it stops, then they do it for some time, then it stops, then they do it for some time and it stops. So they found there are these two typical reactions that they have. One way they settle for something really inferior, and two, they just don't know how to settle. And research was done on why these girls make choices like this. And some very surprising insights were born. Even when they are very capable, even when they are very good looking, for some reason in their mind, they have convinced themselves that they are not good enough. Because I am not good enough, I will have to settle for something which is not good. Let me give you another classic example. For example, let's say Rajesh. Now Rajesh is a businessman doing hard work, attempting to do his best, living a decent life, and let's say he is earning about 25 lakh rupees per year. If he meets somebody who is earning 25 crores every year, chances are Rajesh won't even know what kind of a conversation to have with that person. His mind will tell him, वो इतना बड़ा आदमी है, मैं उसके संग क्या बात करूं? वो इतने बड़े आदमी हैं, वो मुझसे क्यों बात करेंगे? उनके सामने मैं कौन हूं? And in a little harsh language, the words can be, अपनी क्या औकात है यार, उनकी क्या औकात है यार. And for some reason, you look at material success and you start thinking, मैं उनके सामने कुछ भी नहीं. And before the world rejects us, we reject ourselves. Has any one of you gone through this? You meet very successful people and you don't know how to talk to them? Because deep inside there is this little conviction, I'm not good enough. And this closes certain parts of our mind. And it makes us work not with our 100%. In some unfortunate cases with 10%. Some cases with 40-50%. Tomorrow there is an extraordinary opportunity. We will let go of it. We won't hold it because the thinking is, यार ये अपने से नहीं होगा. अच्छा, जो भी इंसान आज के दिन सफल है, किसी दिन वो अपने तरह ही था. मतलब अगर आज मैंने शुरुआत की तो मैं भी चरम सीमा तक पहुंच सकता हूं. बट द थिंकिंग इज, आई एम नॉट गुड इनफ. Now in different lives, there are different experiences which makes us believe we won't be able to do it. Let's go back 3 weeks when we had Praveen Teotia with us, the Marine commando who faced the bullets of the terrorists in Taj. I've referred to this incident a few times, but I will refer to it for the rest of my life. We went for lunch, and then Kavya, who was there, says I can run about 2 kilometers. And Praveen says, no, you can run a marathon, 42 kilometers. Kavya is saying, impossible, chance ही नहीं. I will die. And Praveen asks one question. What is the proof that you cannot run 42? And obviously Kavya had no answer. And after mumbling and fumbling for a few seconds, she agreed and confessed, actually it is a mental block. If somebody whose lung size is 1/3, somebody who's been certified by doctors that you can't even jog for 100 meters, can go on to run a 42-kilometer marathon, and his half marathon time, 21 kilometers time, is 1 hour 40 minutes. Which means he is running at a speed of about 14 kilometers per hour to complete the marathon. Now the difference between a Praveen and most people is he doesn't carry mind blocks. And as me, Joe, Praveenji and Kavya were having a discussion, Praveen said, the village from which I come has 39 martyrs, which means 39 people have died working in the forces against terrorists or on the borders. So in our village, not a single child believes that there is a tragedy if you die for the cause of your nation. Because 39 people have given their life for their country. In our village, almost from every family, at least one child is in the armed forces. And from my family, that is Praveen's family, he and his elder brother, both are in the armed forces. Which means the situation and circumstance is such where they believe you will get into the forces, you will become a black cat commander, you can become a marine commander. ये तो अपने गांव में घर घर में होता है, तो नहीं होगा, संभव नहीं है, ऐसे ख्याल ही नहीं आते. Unfortunately, for different reasons, these kids, when they were young, were told directly or indirectly in many aspects of life that you are not good enough. It can be something as simple as I heard my neighbor telling their daughter who is learning MMA. You know what is MMA? Mixed martial arts. So you often find if you send your children for these competitions, karate, judo, most of these competitions are either non-touch competitions. So you just have to make formations with your body and show. Or it is light touch. But mixed martial arts is full-on body contact. And this girl is the national champion in MMA. And I heard the mother telling, बहुत दुखी रहोगी तुम लाइफ में. क्यों? तुम घर में हाथ नहीं बटाती, तुमको जिंदगी में इतनी तकलीफ होने वाली है, फिर तुम अपनी मां को याद रखोगी. Now the intention of the mother is right, to make the child independent, not only physically and mentally, but also in taking care of the house. But the approach we take, if you don't listen to me, you are not good enough, switches some things off inside the head. Now tomorrow this kid, who is about 17 years now, becomes 24, 25 and she goes in search of a life partner. Subconsciously the echo of her mother's voice, you are not good enough, तुमको बहुत तकलीफ होने वाली है, makes her search for that kind of a person with whom she will be very comfortable and she will never feel threatened. Somebody who may not be as famous as she is or as good as she is, somebody where she can make things happen, she can drive the conversation. And she will settle for somebody much, much inferior to her. Alternatively, she will never have the courage to get married. Because she will keep telling herself, मैं क्यों तकलीफ लूं? आराम से बैठी हूं मम्मी पापा के घर पे. सुबह जब उठना है उठूंगी, जब जाना है जाऊंगी, जिस दिन काम करना है करूंगी, रोना है रोऊंगी, खर्चा करना है खर्चा करूंगी. मैं क्यों कमिट करूं, क्यों शादी करूं, क्यों कहीं और जाऊं? Now she may not even realize it, but she could not cope with the statement which was, तुमको बहुत तकलीफ होने वाली है. Similarly, this gentleman who has a heart of gold, his only weakness in his entire childhood was, he just could not grasp subjects. Education समझता नहीं. A simple mathematical problem, like what is 10% of 200, he could never understand that 200 into 10 by 100 is equal to, will give the numbers. वो percent means 10 by 100, वो दिमाग के अंदर ही नहीं घुसता था. Somebody would explain to him 4 times, but he will still remain confused. क्या ऐसा क्यों है? हिसाब किताब नहीं समझता. And because of this, he was told so many times that you are useless. His heart remained pure, but his conviction about his capacity to work, to earn, became weak. Later on in life, he got brilliant opportunities. Because his heart is gold, people want to work with him. And they tell him, come, we'll work together. All you need to do is A and B. And he is brilliant in A and B. But from deep inside, he'll attempt to do half of A and a part of C. As a result of which A and B did not get done properly. And all great opportunities were lost. These 2 words are very crucial words. Coping mechanism. What do these 2 words mean, coping mechanism? When I go through an unfortunate experience in my life, how do I face it? अगर मेरी जिंदगी में किसी भी तरह की अनहोनी होती है, मुझे किसी ने कह दिया कि ये नालायक है, बड़े क्रूर भावनाओं के साथ में किसी ने देख के ये कह दिया है कि तुमसे कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा. How does the mind cope with it? Very crucial. I enter into a business deal, change in policies, ended up making a huge loss. People who believe I am smart now look at me with doubts. कि अगर होशियार है तो ऐसी गलती कैसे होगी? And those who interact with me have stopped interacting. Those who would invite me, invitations don't come. How will I cope with this? At one end, I have to cope with financial loss. At the other end, I have to cope with relationship loss or relationship distances. How will I cope with it? Let's say I get my sister married to a gentleman, and I am very confident he is the right person for my sister. Turns out it was not so. Turns out there are shades of his character or states of his life which I didn't even know. Let's say, turns out he likes to drink. Turns out he likes drugs. Turns out he likes women. Turns out he loves pornography and he cannot sleep any night without pornography. And my sister feels insulted every time something like this happens. And there is a day when she can't deal with it anymore. And she decides to withdraw from that relationship. And let's say everybody turns around and looks at me. संबंध तो तुमने करवाया था. हमने तो 3 और संबंधों के बारे में चर्चा की थी. आपका बड़ा आत्मविश्वास था कि इससे बढ़िया मिलेगा नहीं. And they have that look and that silence, which makes me believe that I have destroyed my sister's life. And every time I see my sister in pain, how do I cope with this? I'm driving a car, meet with an accident. And there is an individual who was in the other car, he dies on the spot. Yeah, the insurance covers the repayment, etc., etc. But I come to know he is the only breadwinner for his family. और उनके परिवार में कोई कमाता ही नहीं है. और उनकी जो धर्म पत्नी है वो पढ़ी लिखी नहीं है, 2 लड़कियां हैं. अरे इंश्योरेंस वाले ने थोड़ा पैसा दिया, थर्ड पार्टी इंश्योरेंस कवरेज वगैरह वगैरह सब है. लेकिन उन जो 3 महिलाओं की आंखें हैं ना, वो थोड़ी पथराई हुई है. And they are wondering suddenly what happened to our life. I mean, the person who loved us the most, the person on whom we are dependent on, is no more there. And this is that person who made that happen. They are cultured, they are decent, they don't attack. But from their eyes I can see, शायद बद्दुआ निकल रही है. How do I cope with this? Let's say I say something very viciously, मतलब ज़बान पे जहर है, और उस जहर के साथ मैं अपने किसी करीबी को बहुत डांटता हूं. और उससे वो इंसान सहम जाता है. और जब गुस्सा शांत हुआ, ये एहसास हुआ, अरे यार नरेन गलत हो गया. लेकिन अब उसको ठीक करने का कोई रास्ता नहीं. धागा टूट गया है, जोड़ दो तो भी गांठ रहेगा, वो पहले जैसा नहीं बनेगा. हाउ डू आई कोप विद दिस? Let's say somebody confides in me. Prashant comes and confides about an aspect of his life. Assuming Naren is not going to ever tell it to anybody, my secret is safe with Naren. And I discuss it with Vikas when I meet Vikas. Because Vikas and Prashant are very close to each other. So I tell Vikas, यार ये प्रशांत के साथ ऐसा है. And he had come and this is what I had suggested. So if necessary, just support in times to come. And one of those days, me and Prashant are discussing. And I happened to slip and say, so Prashant, उस दिन अपनी जो बात हुई ना, I have updated Vikas also. And Prashant is shell shocked. No, but it was supposed to be a secret. It was very personal. It was just you and me. You told it to Vikas? No, he's a gentleman. He doesn't say anything beyond that. But I can see that he's struggling inside his head to cope with it. Okay, I feel betrayed. Now he has too much respect and he's too elegant a person to shout, scream, fight, cry. But inside his mind I can see there is an impact. And that impact tells him, you cannot trust anybody on this planet. His ability to trust people is broken once and for all. Because he trusted me blindly. How does Prashant cope with this? And seeing what he's gone through, do I cope with it? I create a financial mess, and let's say my children are not able to study. They look at me concerned, and let's say Neeru at the age of 18 decides to start business. घर को थोड़ा support करना है, थोड़े पैसे कमाने हैं. And I am telling him, beta, मैं कर लेगा. And he says, yeah, papa, of course you will do it. But instead of studying 100%, now he studies 70% and 30% he is attempting to earn a little money. 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. And he's thinking, चलो फीस जो है ना कॉलेज का कम से कम मैं वो निकाल लूँ, पापा को ना वो थोड़ी सहायता हो जाए. And he stopped going for parties, stopped going for discussions with friends, stopped spending money. Even on his birthday he says, नहीं कुछ नहीं करना है. And I can see he's sacrificing his youth, his childhood, because Papa made a mistake because of which financially we are in trouble. And therefore, I should not spend a single rupee at all. And I can see him maturing much beyond his age, growing up in 1 year about 5 years. And he's going to miss out on that youth, that carefree time of his life, those 3, 4, 5 years. Because he wants to support his papa. And I feel guilty. What the hell did I do with my family? What did I do to my children? What kind of a stupid mistake did I commit? Now, how do I cope with this? These two words, coping mechanism, are very crucial for any human being to live a great life. Sometimes the mistakes are genuine and it couldn't have been avoided, it couldn't have been predicted. Nothing could have been done. Sometimes it was carelessness. I could have been alert and I could have saved. And sometimes it happens to me. I had no role to play. For example, Neeraj had no role to play in me making some financial decisions, but he has to face the brunt of it. Sometimes the person we love the most, for some reason the relationship breaks. And we don't know, should we ever have a deep relationship in life? कि now onwards only surface level relationship, बहुत तकलीफ होती है. Coping mechanism. If I am not good in coping with situations which are not favorable to my life, slowly and steadily parts of me will start closing down. I will survive. I will do well in some aspects of life. But I wouldn't live life full. I wouldn't live life holistically. Classically, coping mechanism in a negative terminology involves those three that I was discussing before we started life lesson, just when we started the processes. Most people in the world go through those three: fight, flight, or freeze. Something wrong happens in life and these people know how to fight. Fight means they become personal, they become destructive. They have a point to prove, they argue. If anything goes against their expectations, their worst comes out. Screaming, shouting, blaming. and the past will come out, and it will become a very ugly scene. Their coping mechanism is, you have to defeat the other person. Fight. They're very aggressive, especially with people whom they love. Because they know they can get away with any mistake they do with people they love. If the parents are loving in nature, I might give them pain every day. But that's my coping mechanism. Something is not going okay, to hell with what you go through. I will do what I want to do so that nobody disturbs me. You know of people like these? Are you one such person? Aggression is your nature. Argument, defeat the other person. It will never allow your heart to be peaceful. Nor will it strengthen your relationships. You might have results in some aspect of life. Financially, you might have success. In society, you might have a good name. But you will feel alone. You won't be able to think big. Then is flight. कुछ भी ठीक नहीं है कि भागो उधर से. These people would love to avoid responsibilities. They want to avoid commitments. They might say yes to a work, but when work has to happen, they don't do it. They don't believe they can. Now they become dependent on somebody else for their entire life. They will be good support systems to somebody else, but they can never lead. They need either the father or the mother or the husband or the wife or a friend or a brother. They actually believe, I can't face it, and they go through palpitations. Their heart skips a beat the moment there is a situation which is a little ugly or a difficult. And they will sacrifice quite a lot. छोड़ो जाने दो, अपने को क्या करने का है. Even if something is there right and something wrong happens to them, they might just prefer to close their eyes and hope it doesn't get repeated. As a result of which, a large part of their life gets anchored on fear. Fear that something will go wrong. Fear that I will be alone. Fear that I will not have enough money. Fear that people will misunderstand me. Fear, what if I take a decision and the decision turns out to be wrong? Fear starts driving their life. So one is anger dominates a person's life and they become aggressive. The other is fear dominates a person's life and they want to just withdraw from difficult situations. Third situation is freeze, where the dimag does not work anymore. They just go blank. Difficult situation, they go blank. If you have ever driven in the jungles, it's a classic experience which many people would speak to you about. The deer is roaming around in the night And the moment the headlight of your jeep falls on the deer just freezes. It can't even move. And that's why it's very easy to hunt the deer. Very beautiful animal, very graceful animal, very elegant animal. That's why when you love someone, you call them, no, my dear. When you love someone, call them my rhinoceros and see what happens. My dear cockroach, see what happens. And it is the easiest to hunt. Because danger and it freezes. Now these people always feel helpless in life. They may be strong, but they never move into the reservoir of their strength. For them, the option in life is to cry. Fight, flight, freeze. All three are unhealthy coping mechanisms. Unhealthy coping mechanisms. They bring the worst out of you and they never bring the best out of you. Nowadays we see this in enough cases of marriage. So let's say I have a nephew, he's about 29 years old now. He will go see certain people, but be a little uncertain. हाँ देखते हैं, हाँ सोचते हैं, हाँ मैं बोलता हूँ. And then there is freeze. Cannot take decisions. Can't even say I'm scared of this, if I can remove this then I can go ahead. Freeze. And in that freeze, these people look very incapable. यार हाँ बोल ना बोल कुछ बोलता ही नहीं. And nowadays we listen to enough such instances where youngsters 24 to 34 are not able to commit to a marriage. Boys and girls, both sides. Freeze. Coping mechanism. Doesn't make me become better if I resort to fight, flight and freeze. Can you connect with what I am saying? Are there aspects of your life where you tend to have fight, flight or freeze? Unknowingly, are we passing this on to our family members? Fight, flight or freeze? Is our method of dealing with complicated situations छोड़ जाने देना? Or is it चल अपन साथ में चलते हैं? Or is it कुछ मत कर? Then you find the best of your life is not coming out, and slowly and steadily life shrinks. Unknowingly, with good intentions in our heart, we encourage fight, flight or freeze in people in our organization as well as people in our family. Unknowingly, we encourage fight, flight or freeze As a result of which, those who can be extraordinary are made to live a very ordinary life. Now think about it. Let's say I want to dominate my marriage. मेरे को सब काम ना सही तरीके से चाहिए. And when things happen my way, I also reward my wife. तो उसने अगर मेरा सब सुना तो उसके लिए मस्त गिफ्ट लेके आऊंगा. मेरा बात मानी तो उसको हॉलीडे के लिए लेके जाऊंगा. But in case things don't happen my way, and a very ugly part of me comes out. Sometimes it can be, मैं बात ही नहीं करूंगा तुमसे. You're not even worth talking to. Sometimes it can be my anger and my shouting at house. Sometimes it can be me threatening her. You do like this and you're out of the house. Because I want to be in control and I want to dominate, I expect every mistake of mine should be instantaneously forgiven. कर दिया, हो गया, इसमें क्या है? I want to create a wife who lives by flight or freeze. मतलब वो सहम जानी चाहिए मेरे सामने. What I don't know is, this wife will bring up my children and subconsciously she will transfer to them fight, flight or freeze. And the child of mine tomorrow when he grows up will not be able to take decisions of his own. Will always remain scared of people. Will not take initiatives. I could live with my control drama and prove I am the boss. But my children will pay the price for that. And tomorrow I might tell my children, अरे तुम लोग क्या करते हो, कुछ करते क्यों नहीं हो, मेरे को देखो मैं कितना करता था, मैं. And I don't even know that I am the cause for my child the way he or she is. I trained them in the coping mechanism of fight, flight or freeze. Let's take a pause over here. And I ask you to analyze your life a little. जब अनहोनी होती है, when something goes wrong, what is your coping mechanism? How do you face it? Think about anything which went wrong in your life. Or maybe you are going through something right now. What's your mechanism? Let's take a very simple example. You gave a job to somebody in your office. Job was not done well. Now, how do you cope with that situation? Let's say something goes wrong in a relationship. Brother, sister, parents, in-laws, husband, wife, best friend, partners. Now, how do you cope with that situation? Let me take a pause here and ask you if you have any questions on whatever we have discussed so far. Then we will go into the solution mode. How should or how can we cope with these situations? Vijay?
We have to such type of situation. We will take the past result also. When we in job or any relation, what past has happened. And so we go on that decision. The last time we didn't success this approach. So at that time is come, then the freeze mode comes.
Freeze mode comes. Absolutely. So Vijay says that when I do something and it doesn't work out, I can think about so many things also that I have done earlier and it didn't work out. And therefore I go into freeze mode. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, and plus then experience with the person also.
Experience with an individual also.
It doesn't work, so forget it.
Perfect. इसको बहुत बार बोल चुका हूँ, नहीं सुनता है, नहीं सुधरता है, छोड़ो जाने दो. Something like that. So Harshad is saying how I cope with situations is very simple. I divide it into three parts. Is it important? Is it neutral? Or is it not important at all? If it is not important at all, I completely ignore it. If it is neutral, then I will take a little effort and work on it. If it is very important, then I will consistently work on it. The issue is when it is very important and the other person has a big ego, then I don't know how to solve that situation. Is that what you're saying? Irfan?
I cope with the situation. I'm able to cope with the situation. And when I'm not able to cope with the situation, then many people are involved.
So what Irfan is saying is I can cope with situations which is one-to-one. But where there is a group of people involved, many people involved, there I move into freeze mode. There I feel very helpless and I don't know how to initiate and how to make things happen. Is that what you're saying? Interesting. Gautam? Gautam's question is, letting go of something, does it mean I am freezing it? When I let go of something peacefully, then it's a mature choice. When I let go of something helplessly, then I have moved into freeze mode. मुझे चाहिए कुछ और, लेकिन लाचार महसूस होके अगर मैं कुछ करता हूं, अपनी चलने वाली नहीं है, कुछ होने वाली नहीं है, कुछ फायदा नहीं है, बात करके कुछ मतलब ही नहीं है, छोड़ो जाने दो. That sadness is there as a part of me then. Now that will impact my character and my nature in times to come. On the other hand, if I can peacefully let it go, then it does not impact me negatively. So like they say, giving up and letting go are two different things. When you say I give up, I want it but I give up. Letting go, I don't want it, hence I am giving up. It makes all the difference. Prachiti? Absolutely. Absolutely. So denial is flight. I don't want to understand and I want to fly away from the situation. So for many people, you are absolutely right, denial is their method of coping. We also call it as the ostrich method. When the ostrich sees a danger, it buries its head in the sand, hoping that danger will go away, and it gets hunted. Think in your life, coping mechanism, how do you deal with negative situations or impossible situations or difficult situations? Do you become peaceful or do you become chaotic? And do you let go? Do you leave it? Do you believe that time heals everything and therefore leave it to time to solve it? Do you start wearing a ring so that Rahu or Ketu will become okay and therefore life will become okay? You delegate that work to the ring. you get a horoscope matched, or you get one havan done, or you wear a taviz? Or do you play a very expert blame game? Remember Joseph Campbell in his book, A Hero with Thousand Faces? Where he says, every human being, the moment something is wrong in life, they search for a face to blame. The moment something is wrong in life, find a face to blame. That's another way of denial and running away. I am like this because of you, mama. I am like this because of you, papa. Or I am like this because of you, my wife. There is some face that we'll successfully find to blame. And depending on your size of ego, you go that deeper in that blame. Okay, here are a few options and solutions. This is a new watch that my son has given to me yesterday, so I'm still a little uncomfortable with this. But let's say we have about 30 minutes to discuss, and I can see Girish's hand up. Girish. Huh.
When I faced solve this situation,
Huh.
instead of doing all this, I started coming to life.
Okay. Thank you so much. If nobody has anything else to add, then I'll take 20-25 minutes to give you the answers. Irfan? I am in both modes. If you have a question, you can ask. I'll give the solution. Achha, you have a solution. Okay, tell me the solution.
I can deal with a problem or a challenge I face in my life, my world around me as a different people face, or the world as a planet faces in 3 stages. It's a process. First part, second part, and third part. As I perceive the end result, making the changes, the adjustments, the guidance, related changes in strategy planning, assessment, and dealing with the problem or challenge in such a way that guidance comes from higher intelligence in such a way as you give me, Naren, the answer which you are going to give me now, with the help of existential powers. Cosmic energy coming into play. Ultimately, the end result, which we see, an ultimate end result is an absolute result. We have absolute projections. We have absolute projection inside the omnipresent and the relative projections. The first part, we have written 7 pages.
He sounds like a philosopher, no? He sounds very intelligent. You may not have understood anything at all. That's a sign of a philosopher. How do we cope with difficult situations? How do we cope with tragedies? How do we cope with blunders that we have made in our life? Is a very essential part of good living. Step number 1. Now I'll tell you about coping mechanisms through which either I faced difficult situations or I've seen some people face difficult situations kind of effortlessly. Because I found that one situation is impossible for one human being and the same situation is effortless for another human being. Today Iris is not here. Iris lost her husband about 40 days ago and today is the 40th day mass in the church. But all 3 times when Iris was pregnant, she drove herself to the hospital, got herself admitted, and then informed her husband that काम वाम complete करके आ जाओ, तब तक तुम बाप बन जाओगे. Which means it's paining, she knows it's labor pain, but she doesn't call the husband or anybody else seeking help. She can say, I can get this done. I know driving. So what's the big deal? I will go. And I also know families where the lady does not go even for vegetable shopping. And she's made to feel completely dependent on others in life. In their life, if even a child meets with a scratch, they have to call somebody else for help. So it is never the situation which is tough. It is the person involved who looks into a situation as easy or tough. So every time you go through a difficult challenge, first understand it looks difficult in your perspective. By itself, it may not be so big. Put it in the right frame. As we are doing wow parenting, we have a group of mothers who are single mothers. Now they are enjoying their parenting because they are saying, I have all the freedom in the world to bring up the child the way I want. And we also have women who are staying with their husband and have children who are saying it is so blissful because I have support to bring up children the way they should be. And we also had a very funny situation last week. How many of you have heard about this term called co-parenting? Co-parenting. You haven't? Okay, this is a new terminology. Very beautiful. Now this is an American who is a part of our parenting. Now this American sends me a question. The question goes like this. Me and my husband have 6 children. In America, 4, 5, 6, 7 is still very absolutely okay and normal. We have 6 children. 2 of them which is ours. Matlab they have produced. 2 of them who are partially ours. Which means, in our earlier marriage, I produced this child. And there are 2 who has been inherited from their earlier marriage. You know what it means? It means these people are in their 3rd marriage. When they got married for the first time, they had 1 child which has been brought into this marriage. When they got married for the 2nd time, this lady's husband, who had a child with the earlier marriage, came into the marriage. Now the 2nd divorce has happened. So the child is not with original father and mother, but with the stepmother. And the stepmother takes this child into the 3rd marriage, where the original father and mother are not there. कुछ नहीं समझा? और 6 में से 2 ऐसी औलाद है जो उनकी नहीं है लेकिन उनकी है. Now this is what is called co-parenting. Not fully mine, not partially mine, but mil gaya. It's a part of my earlier marriages. Now she is saying, sometimes there is a fight between these 6 children. And she speaks about an issue and says, how do I solve it? An Indian will never experience or understand this experience. 3rd marriage. In India, even 2nd marriage is hope against experience. एक हो गया, बस हो गया, नहीं हुआ, चैप्टर क्लोज. उस रास्ते जाने का ही नहीं है मेरे को. In America, you hear somebody who's 72 marrying somebody who's 69. You know about Elizabeth Burton and Richard Burton and Elizabeth? You don't know? Elizabeth Taylor, an icon of beauty in Hollywood, got married only 8 times. 8 times. Now that is not beautiful, that is not courageous. That is 8 times marriage. But the beauty is, she got married to Richard Burton 3 times. First marriage with Richard Burton. After some time, she realized that इससे नहीं हो सकता. हटाओ इसको. Divorce. She got married to the second time, third time. After third marriage, she realized no, Richard was the best. She got married to him again. Then she realized no, my first experience of divorcing him was right. Divorces him again, gets married once again, and then she realizes both experience ho gaya, Richard was actually the best. Gets married to him again the 7th time, and she says no, it's again a mistake, and divorces with him again. I am not encouraging any one of you. Now, if one marriage is a complication, imagine Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. Now for them, for Elizabeth Taylor, do you think divorce is a big thing? It's like a walk in the park. It's like a sneeze that comes. Divorce ho gaya. Actually, can you think about 8 marriages? And 3 to the same person. Now that's the most beautiful part of the whole thing. And imagine poor Richard Burton. After 7th divorce, he might still be waiting. Pata nahi kal wapas bol denge, aaja wapas. I mean, his love would be so deep for Elizabeth Taylor. So what looks complicated to you and me may not actually be complicated. So if anybody over here is a divorcee, you don't have to look down on yourself. The world might, the samaj might, your family might, your neighbors might, the teachers in the school might, but you compare your life with Elizabeth Taylor. Fundamentally, it means when you have to cope with any situation, the first thing that you do is reframe the story. Which means the first thing that you do is, it is not as big as I am thinking it is. So to borrow a little from Harshad, it is very important, but it is not so big. It is very important, but not so big. That is step number 1. Very crucial step. This may be very important, but it is not so big. This gives you the frame of mind to solve it, rather than fight, flight or freeze. I fight जब छोटी-छोटी चीज मेरे को बहुत बड़ी लगती है. I ring the doorbell of my house, the doorbell is not opened in 10 seconds and I might fight. I like to have, let's say, milk without sugar, and by mistake sugar is put and I might fight. I am hungry and food is not ready, I might fight. It has happened. We close the office in the night, come back in the morning and find the ACs were still running whole night. Forgot to switch off the ACs. Now I can fight. Something was supposed to be done, somebody completely forgot about it and I can fight. If I have a tendency to get angry and fight, then my tendency is to think that the smallest thing is very big. And I feel threatened with every such small thing. Where my expectation from others is very high, and my expectation from myself is not so high. That is when fight happens. So you solve this by reframing the situation. 2, this statement helps me many times. Worst case situation, what will happen? बुरा से बुरा क्या हो सकता है? Worst case situation, what will happen? Let me be mentally prepared for that. Then there is no freeze. Freeze is when, oh my God, I don't know what will happen and I am not capable. If the worst case situation is acceptable to me, then I can go through anything. And third, very simple. Before me in the history of humanity, has any person gone through similar situation and come out of it? Before me, has anybody gone through something similar and lived a great life? Or is it that in the entirety of humanity, nobody has been able to ever face this kind of a situation? If any human being has gone through similar situation and come out of it beautifully well, what are the steps they take? Therefore, what are the first steps that I should take? Step number 1, no denial, acceptance. Yeah, I made a mess. Yeah, it was a mistake. And I should have been careful. Step number 2, this is how I think we can solve it. This is how I think we can solve it. Step number 3, take help. Take help. Now the trick over here is, all the people I ask help for may not rise to the occasion. Therefore, till I get the help, I don't stop asking. Which means I don't give up on myself. I'll go and ask Dhruv. If Dhruv is able to help me, great. Or I will go to Dhananjay. If Dhananjay is able to help me, great. Or I'll go to Shivaji. Shivaji is able to help me, great. I'll go and ask Kundalik. Kundalik is able to help me, great. And I will keep asking. There will be somebody who will help. There is always somebody in the world who is willing to help you. Now this is a very important part of your mindset. कोई ना कोई हेल्प जरूर करेगा. वो पहला करेगा क्या 10वां करेगा मालूम नहीं, लेकिन कोई ना कोई करेगा. And what helps people to help you is your character. Is your character. When they know इसकी नीयत अच्छी है, तुमको मदद करने वाला कोई ना कोई 100% मिलेगा. Now that's the beauty of life. Help will come from quarters where you expected the least. And I begin asking for help from people from whom I expect the best. And that is when I get rejected the first few times. When I started my business, I just earned a bonus of 5.25 lakh from a company where I was working called Shiv Money and Company. With that, I had the confidence I can run my own business. Took that money, gave it to my father, and told my father, I want to start this business. Therefore, I need some funding. Now I'm about 23 years old. I've just earned 5.25 lakhs. And this is 1992. And my father says, मैं तेरे ऊपर सिर्फ 1.25 लाख का दांव लगा सकता है. I want 5.25. I gave it to him and he gives me back 1.25 lakh and not the 4 lakhs. I was expecting he'll give me 5.25 plus another 5 lakhs of his money. But he gave me 1.25 lakh and says, इससे ज़्यादा तेरे ऊपर दांव नहीं लगा सकता. So if you can call it help, I went and asked my father for help and he said, नहीं मिलेगा. Now you can't do iron and steel business with 1.25 lakhs. चलो कोई नहीं. Went to my neighboring trader, Srivatsa Tube Corporation, and said, Uncle, I'm starting my own business. Can I expect any help from you? He said, I can't give you financial help, but the material that I give to people on 7 days credit, I can give you 30 days credit. And I'll give you this help for 1 year. In 1 year, whatever you can do. After that, it will be like everybody else. Went to Jawahar Bhai, a trader who was a big financer in the market. Jawahar Bhai told, तेरा गारंटी क्या है? मेरे को पार्टनर बना ले, चेक मैं सब साइन करूंगा, पेपर में मैं ही प्रोपराइटर रहूंगा, तुम नहीं रहेगा, लेकिन अपने बीच में अंडरस्टैंडिंग है कि 50% तुम्हारा 50% मेरा. Now it looked very fishy. That didn't work out. I had requirement for some pipes. And there's a company called Jain Tubes where the owner was a maha khadus aadmi. He would never smile at anybody. In fact, history is he has never offered anybody chai. सिर्फ पानी पिलाता था. और अगर कोई बोलता था अरे यार चाय मिलेगी तो अच्छा लगेगा, he used to say वो बाहर एक स्टॉल है. इतना बड़ा खड़ूस. Went to him to buy some pipes. For reasons God knows why. He said, तूने बिजनेस चालू किया ना? I said, हाँ. बोले तो वो पैसे लगते हैं बाजार से. I didn't know what to do, how to deal with this situation. Because खड़ूस आदमी है. So I told him, हाँ लगते हैं और अभी 10 लाख की जरूरत भी है. Because I had an order from TTG Industries. He said, 1.5% ब्याज लूंगा, हर 3 महीने में पैसा वापस लौटाना पड़ेगा. फिर मैं वापस तेरे को दूंगा, और तेरा लिमिट 10 लाख। 10 लाख के अंदर कभी भी कितना भी चाहिए मुनीम जी से बात कर लेना। मुनीम जी वॉज देयर एंड टोल्ड हिम, नरेन कभी भी आएगा 10 लाख तक तुम पैसा दे सकते हो उसको, मेरे को पूछने की जरूरत नहीं। एंड हिज सन्स आर देयर हु डोंट गेट 100 रुपीज पॉकेट मनी। कल अपने घर में बात हो रही थी ना भगवान भैया, ही डजंट गिव 100 रुपीज पॉकेट मनी टू हिज चिल्ड्रन। कुछ सब्जी लाना है मुनीम जी, कहीं बाहर जाना है मुनीम जी। वेरी स्ट्रेंज गाय। In the worst of my nightmares, I had not thought that this guy will give me money. But he offered 10 lakhs. And he asked me, bag लेके आया? I said, bag? बोले लेके जा 10 लाख। मेरे पास 2 नंबर का, 1 नंबर का नहीं है। And I asked him, कोई पोस्ट डेटेड चेक वेक? बोले नहीं, तेरे ऊपर विश्वास है। Second shock for his children. One of the child did not have legs, so he was always on the wheelchair. Then Jain uncle went inside. Tarachand Jain, his name was. And then he says, मेरे बाप ने हमको 10 रुपया कभी नहीं दिया, तेरे ऊपर 10 लाख का कैसे विश्वास किया? मैं बोला आप पूछो अपने पापा को। And out of that 10 lakhs, he never took that money back till I stopped business. He never asked for that money after 3 months also. I would call him and said, uncle पैसे लेके आऊं? He says, तेरे को जरूरत नहीं है? नहीं जरूरत तो है, तो रहने दे। And thanks to that 10 lakhs, in 3 years time, I was earning about 32 lakhs per year. And my bapu gave me 1.25 lakhs. So I think, at least in this case, the father did not trust the child, whether it is Jain uncle or my father. But the crucial point is, somebody will help. Somebody who trusts your character will help. They will help. Now this is money. But you want a relationship guidance. You want health guidance. There will be people who will help. I was talking to a friend of mine about wow parenting, and I said we want to scale it up. He said, Arey, I know the chief of Chaitanya. Chaitanya is based in Hyderabad and they have only 5 lakh students. 5 lakh students. I said, how many? He said, they have 5 lakh students. And we can have some kind of a deal with them. And imagine if 5 lakh parents of Chaitanya get access to wow parenting, how beautiful life will come out. You know, our internal target is in 3 years' time, we should be able to touch 1 million lives. That is, in 3 years' time, we should be able to touch 10 lakh lives. Somebody trusts my character and he believes wow parenting is a great product. He is willing to make us meet somebody who can give 5 lakh parents in a single shot. When you have character and you don't mind rejections, you can take rejections personally. मेरे को किसी ने कैसे मना कर दिया, अब मैं वापस कैसे पूछूं? If you don't bother about that, then you will be helped. And when you are ready to take help, you can cope with the most difficult situation on this planet. When you say, I won't take help, and if the situation looks a little bigger than your capabilities, you will give up. Fight, flight, or freeze will become your default action. So very, very simple steps. What is step number 1? Reframe. That is step number 1. Reframe. जितना बड़ा लग रहा है उतना बड़ा नहीं है. लोगों के साथ इससे 10 गुना बदतर चीज होता है। इतना खराब नहीं है। एक इंसान के लंग से 3 गोलियां निकल गई, वो आयरन मैन भाग रहा है, अपने को वायरल फीवर है। इतना हालत खराब नहीं है। You immediately reframe the most complicated situation into this can be handled, this can be dealt with. So your frame of mind shifts from negative to doable to action to positive. Step number 2. Worst case situation, what will happen? ये हैंडल में से नहीं हुआ। Worst case situation, what will happen? Get ready mentally for that so that your fear is taken out. When you can accept the worst case situation, you are not afraid anymore. Step number 3. Anybody on this planet, have they gone through this kind of a scenario and overcome it? Amitabh Bachchan lost 200 crores in ABCL. Amitabh Bachchan Corporation Limited, he had created a company. And out of that, he's bounced back. Minus 200 crores and he's bounced back as a single performer, single person. No industries. No IT company. One person. One performer. तो 200 करोड़ से वापस उछल सकता है, हो सकता है. So if somebody else has done it, it's a proof that it can be done. And therefore I will also be able to do it. And next, take help. So of the earlier is, what did they do? So what Amitabh did? What are the 3 things he did? Started with a small role. Okay, let me also start with something small. Get into momentum and then take a big leap. It's like a high jump. You run, go into momentum and then you take a leap. By standing, you can't take a leap. So from life, which is in a difficult situation, let me move into momentum. That is the earliest step. If somebody else has done it, I can also do it. And the next step becomes, take help. Don't fight it alone. And when do you take help? When do you get help? When your character is good. If your character is not right, then it's a different situation. But I believe everybody who comes to life's lessons, character is good. Self-certified people. Now that character is good, just get ready mentally for enough rejections. When you go and ask for help, don't think that the person from whom you deserve to be helped will help you. Chances are you had helped somebody in their tough times and you think they are going to help you, but they may not. Chances are somebody who has abundance can help you, but they may not. Chances are somebody who is also going through a tough time may be able to help you, and they will. So help has this nature, it comes from unexpected and surprising places. But don't hesitate in asking for help. Keep asking for help. तेरा नियत है ना, जिससे हेल्प लिया उसको 10 गुना ज्यादा देने का, बात खत्म. With these steps, you will be able to cope the most difficult and complicated of situations. Time for us to complete today's life lesson. Otherwise, coping mechanism has to be activated again. So thank you so much for coming. Wish you all the best and love you so much.